Drop a like and do share. Leave your comments and do not forget to subscribe for more videos.
What's up guys? This is Manoj Puprani. I welcome you all on behalf of the Edupedia world. Perfect guys, it's the 5th video presentation and I'm going to discuss some of the more relevant topics with you all relating to the topic of investigation and due diligence. So are you guys all set? Perfect. Fasten up your seatbelts. We're about to take off with the first topic of the day, and that will be ways with which fraud can happen in stocks and list of ways to investigate them. So let's understand as to with how many ways with which stock frauds can take place in any of the organization. Number 1, pilferage. Pilferage or theft of the goods by any kind of employee. Okay, once or repetitively, he's been doing that stuff for over a longer period of time. Or I can say that concealment of such theft can be done by a return of the goods as the damaged ones, so that the book quantities usually tally with the actual quantities of stock. So pilferage or theft of the goods is one of the major stock frauds. Number 2, defalcation of the finished goods stock. It might be a possibility that the finished goods stock may be defalcated, committed by that management by diverting a part of the production and consequent shortages in production being adjusted by the inflating the wastage in production. There might be a possibility that wastage is just not being done in the production. However, the management commits this defalcation of the finished goods stock by diverting a part of the production and consequently showing the shortage in production by adjusting the same against inflating the wastage. So this is something again going to affect your inventory. That is number 2, stock fraud. Number 3, defalcation of the stores and raw materials. This thing can be done by inflating the quantities which are issued for production. Supposedly, you got an output of let's say 2 lakh units. However, you basically provided the input of let's say 5 lakh units. However, you inflated that figure by showing that you provided the inventory as opening one for let's say 7 lakh units. So again, that is something which is going to be done in case of defalcation, wherein your profit is going to be reduced. Okay, why? Because you are increasing your opening stock, your basic inventory, wherein that will be used for your further production. Defalcations of stores and raw materials by inflating the quantities issued for production. Number 4, stock not actually received but have been paid for. There is something which hasn't been received by your premises, but you've already paid for that stock. Again, that is something wherein fraud may take place. You've already released the cash payments to another person. However, at the same time, you haven't received the stock. Number 5, stock actually dispatched but not entered into the sales and debtors account. Stock has already been dispatched. Let's suppose Ram asks you for a particular stock for 1 lakh units. You have already dispatched the same, but you didn't enter in your sales. You've already released the stock. Now that will be simply said that inventory has been decreased. However, you have not compensated the same with your sale or hitting the debtors account. Now again, this is something which is very crucial wherein stock fraud usually happens. These are the 5 major instances wherein stock frauds can happen. Now, what should be done if in case I just talk about you being an auditor? So how do you need to investigate the matters? Number 1, you need to study. You need to study about the financial and accounting structure. What is the financial and accounting structure of that organization? Examine with the line of responsibility between various members of the staff. Who has been accounted for, who is accountable for what function, how it's being done. You need to be aware of that. Number 2, review the entire system of receipts, storage and dispatch of goods. How material is being receipted, how it is stored, and finally how it is being dispatched from one process to another, and finally out of the finished goods stock of all the goods to localize the weakness in the system and detect major frauds. This is something which I have already received and learned from my previous experiences during my internal audit, how things usually flow from one process to another. Number 3, duties of the persons concerned. So you need to ascertain the exact duties of the persons concerned who is suspected to have committed a fraud, his relationship to general routine of the office, and all those circumstances in which any known instances of defalcation may have come to light. Number 4, identify the excessive control in hands of a single person. There might be a chances that that single person is going to disturb the entire premises. Why? Excess responsibility and right in the hand of one person is definitely going to impact the organization. So identify whether some excessive control is available in the hands of a single person without any supervision of another person. Greater authority to any individual suspected of fraud would widen the field of such investigation. Then comes verification of all the receipts and issue of the stock. Okay, so guys, you need to be understanding about the fact that it's very important for any kind of stock or inventory to check out what amount of inventory is coming as receipt and how out of that receipt how much are you issuing for the next process. So verify all the receipt and issue of the stock which is recording in the store stock book by referring to those entries in the goods inward and outward register. And finally, you need to document all these things as an evidence as regard to the purchase and sales. Then comes, you need to verify what? You need to verify the issue of raw material, stock and tools to the factory. How much is being provided to as far as the issue of raw material, stock and tools are concerned. And you need to check out the receipt of the manufactured goods in the godown with the relative source documents. Then comes the entry. Okay, so check the entries in respect of returns, both inward and outward, recorded in the financial books with the corresponding entries in the store book. So you need to check whether the stock book and the financial books, are they really providing you the same kind of results or same picture or not? That is something very important. Verify the totals of the stock book. You need to verify that as an investigator. Then comes your extent of wastage. So inquire whether the material which is being issued for production was excessive, and if so, to what extent. Till what extent that material which was issued for production was excessive. The per hour capacity of the machine and time to complete one cycle of production would show whether the issues were larger than required or not. That's a basic example that I'm giving it to you, so you can check in that way. Next comes, you need to verify the past records showing the wastage, the extent of wastage in production in the past, to analyze the present wastage level and check whether the same is being done in a higher proportion or in less proportion. If in case it's going higher, definitely it's an alarming situation. So you need to check as an investigator. Next comes shortages. So reconcile the shortages observed on the physical verification of the stock with the discrepancies which are being observed on checking those books of accounts. And if in case it's been specially required, then you need to take up this expert assistance for detecting the shortages which are being perpetuated with the help of management, if any. For example, overstatement of production, suppression of stocks maybe, or I can say overvaluation or undervaluation of stock. So you need to take the expert advice in all those matters. And if in case, lastly, if I'll have to like another making of understanding to you guys, so you can also establish the different items which are being stock defalcated and their quantities by checking physically those quantities in the stocks which are being held and the one which is being shown in the books of accounts. That is again, you can do it. So all these steps, all these things are the exhaustive list. Okay, that can be elaborated much, but I was able to deliver you up something which is your primary understanding sake. So these are the investigatory measures which you can do as an auditor. I hope I was able to deliver you up with respect to each and every kind of example with which you can understand the basic frauds which can happen as far as the stocks are concerned and how you can take care while you investigate the matter. Perfect guys, let's move towards the next topic, and that will be types of the frauds which are possible in credit sales, and how should the auditor proceed to investigate such frauds. This question was asked in C.A Final revisionary test paper for one of the C.A Final attempts. There are three major ways. 1. Misappropriation of the goods which are returned from the customers. Now, it's an alarming situation. You have already made a credit sale and goods have been like returned from the customers and the same have been misappropriated. That's number one situation. So you need to check, you need to ascertain the system of recording the goods which are being returned from the customer and find out its weaknesses, why it is being returned, if any. Second, you need to check the entries in the sale return book with the goods inward book. How much quantity did you receive back from the customer and how much of the same was recorded in the sale return book? Are the same being tallied or not? And if in case some discrepancy does occur, then you need to refer to the correspondence which is being entered into by the client and the customers returning the goods and check thoroughly all the credit notes which are likely to be made or have already been made along with the correspondence, goods inward book and the gatekeeper records. This way you'll be able to check if in case misappropriation is being done or not. Number 2, misappropriation of the payments received. Now, this is something again which is very crucial. you've made some of the credit sales and you've received the payment, how misappropriation can be done with that payment. You need to verify the statement which is being received from the customer and see that the balances agree with the aggregate of unpaid invoices and the credit notes in the relevant customer folder. And if in case suspicion does occur to you, you need to write to the customer concerned ascertaining the balance which remains unpaid and then compare it with your records, the records which you are auditing. This way you will be able to check out and investigate any of the misappropriation with respect to the payments received. And finally, inclusion of fictitious sales to inflate the profits. This practice is usually very common, very common. Okay, people are there who like providing for in their books of accounts that they have made some of the credit sale. However, in reality, they have not. So they are just doing that for the sake of inflating the profits. Why they would do so? Why? Because they need to provide the good financial statements of their business. Okay, that they are earning profits, and people are definitely going to provide them better loans and other facilities if in case they'll see profit in their books of account. So check whether the sale invoices are being carefully, particularly the sales which are entered towards the close, basically close of the accounting period, with a view to find whether the sales are relating to the next period, have been treated as a sale for current period or not. Check whether the goods outward book and gatekeepers record exhaustively with the related invoices to see whether only the real sales have been like included in the books of accounts or not. These are the ways with which frauds can happen in credit sales and how you should as an auditor proceed to investigate such frauds. I hope I was able to make you aware with the perfect example so that you can be aware of the same. I hope I was able to provide you a complete clarity with respect to this topic. So perfect guys, do revise your topics because that's something which is extremely important. I'll be concluding my video with a dose of motivation, and that will be, it's a fabulous country. The only fabulous country. It is the only place where miracles not only happen, but they happen all the time. Thomas Wolfe was the person who mentioned this beautiful quote. And with this, I'll say thank you on behalf of the Edupedia world. Keep interacting via questions, queries, and YouTube comment boxes. I will love to answer each one of your queries and grievances. Stay connected, guys. That will help us in understanding your needs way better. If in case you liked our video, do give us a thumbs up and provide us the positive comments so that our motivation boost will go to the next level. Perfect, guys. I'll see you in the next presentation with a lot more exciting topics. Till then, sayonara, good night. God